Are the Call of Duty Zombies developers scared? Is that the reason why some of the remade World at War and Black Ops 1 maps were different in Zombies Chronicles? And could it be affecting our future maps as well, especially in Black Ops 7? If you don't know what I'm on about, according to leaks that released back in March, one of the DLC maps in BO7 was supposed to be set in a version of New York where the Nazis had won the war by dropping a nuclear bomb on it. You can already see where I'm going with this, but with the most recent teaser from Treyarch, a lot of people are debating as to whether that map has changed. Is this the leaked New York map, or is it something different? For example, the space station one. And well, a very credible leaker called the Ghost of Hope over on Twitter said, "I've seen lots of discussions about DLC 1 in the Zombies community after that picture of it dropped. Lots of people think it's still the New York City map, while others think it's different. I just want to add my 2 cents. I heard from someone I trust back in March that Treyarch got scared of doing the Nazi stuff and reworked/cut the original New York City idea that was leaked. Assuming that's true then, it makes sense they'd rework it into something to do with a planetarium from the 1940s in New York City." So what he's saying is, he's heard from one of his sources that the original idea for DLC 1 in BO7 was to have a map set in New York City where the Nazis had won the war by dropping a nuclear bomb. However, Treyarch got scared of the idea of bringing Nazis back into zombies and either reworked it or cut it. Now, based off this single image, we have no idea of knowing. And you should also bear in mind this is all just based off leaks, so as far as I'm aware, this could all be totally made up, but a lot of the information that was a part of that leak has turned out to be true, so there's really no reason for me to discredit it, which more than likely means the map has either been scrapped, reworked, or this is still it, and we just can't tell from this one singular image. Either way though, I think there's more to this, because this isn't the first time in COD Zombies history we've seen something like this happen. I think it's clear that the developers, Treyarch or maybe even Activision, are scared of showing Nazi imagery in their game. I don't think they're scared of mentioning it because that was what a big part of Cold War's story revolved around, and even in BO7, this version of Richthofen himself is a Nazi. The description that we got from Treyarch for him said, "He is a brilliant but unhinged scientist and hero of the Reich, finding himself torn from 1945 in a world where the Axis powers triumphed over the Allied nations. Shaped by ambition and tainted by corruption, he masks his innate sadism and considerable ego behind quick wit and a charming smile. He vows that reality itself will ultimately bow to his designs." So Richthofen in Black Ops 7 is a Nazi, but if you look at his character model, there are German symbols on him, the Iron Cross, but nothing that really stands out that's in your face. To me, that would say, yes, this guy was a hardcore bad guy. And as I mentioned near to the beginning of the video, this is something Treyarch have done plenty of times. Back during World at War when this mode first started, the game was literally called Nazi Zombies. It wasn't World at War Zombies, it wasn't COD Zombies, Call of Duty Zombies. The official name for it was Nazi Zombies. If you look at the character models and what the zombies were wearing in that game, Treyarch made it very clear what they were. You can see the SS patch on their shoulder. Even the way they walked, I'm not going to say they moved like Germans, but they marched. It's kind of difficult for me to explain, but everything about the zombies made you think these were undead Nazis. And that carried on through every World at War map. Nakta and Toten, Verrucht, Shinonuma, and Derice, as you would expect, fitting the name of the game mode. Remembering, this also came out back in 2008. Call of Duty hadn't really taken off then, especially not like it has now. Okay, there was COD 4 before that, which was a huge hit, but this was still very early on, and gaming back then was very different as well. Pretty much every military shooter, every FPS that released back then was set during World War II, so almost all of them were about Nazis, meaning it was normal, and that continued into Black Ops 1 Zombies, Kino der Toten. This map, out of any I can think of, probably contained the most swastikas, and it made the setting more believable, that this was a Nazi theatre, a place that they had given to Group 935 for them to conduct experiments for them, for an undead army. The amount of imagery in this map really did make you feel like it was set during the Third Reich. And this was in 2010. But this was also the point where things really began to change. Now, in Black Ops 2 Zombies, the game after, that was set way into the future, so this imagery was just naturally not in the game. It's the same for BO3 and BO4. None of these games were set in this era. But we did get Zombies Chronicles, which was remasters of World at War and Black Ops 1 maps, and BO2. And those maps, such as Nacht, Verrucht, Shinonuma, Derice, Kino, all of those old maps set during World War II were suddenly changed and, well, censored. Treyarch removed all of the Nazi imagery, all of the flags off the wall in Kino der Toten, replacing them with, I'm not even exactly sure what this flag is. Is it the Iron Cross and something else, an eagle? I don't know if there's a specific name for this one logo. The zombies were now more generic. They didn't resemble undead Nazis. Pretty much everything visually was altered. And the question is, why? Because these changes are intentional. Doing this, especially in World at War, means Nazi zombies, which is what that game was, is no longer that. It's just zombies now, Call of Duty zombies. To me at least, that was a big part of what made World at War unique. During the time that Zombies Chronicles came out on May the 16th of 2007, there was a huge problem with games such as World at War and Black Ops 1's Kino der Toten in Germany. Basically, since the 1990s, imagery that resembled anything from their past was banned, meaning games such as World at War or zombies maps such as Kino der Toten had to be heavily altered and censored if Activision wanted them released in that country. So there was a version of Black Ops 1 Zombies that was heavily censored for the German audience. This up on screen now, which is gameplay from the Relaxing End, is a version of Kino der Toten that was exclusive to Germany. It was location locked, and the map, as you can see, was heavily censored. All of the flags were changed to what we see now in the Zombies Chronicles version. This was back in 2010. Some voice lines were removed for the characters, and even voice lines for the power-ups and the monkey bomb were removed entirely or altered to avoid specific German dialogue. And while the map names Kino der Toten stayed the same, some weapon names may have been changed as well. Basically, anything that resembled 1940s Germany was removed or changed. And it went further than that. Blood and gore wasn't allowed to be shown, and you couldn't create crawlers. As you would imagine, shooting a zombie's leg off is graphic, I guess? So crawlers weren't a thing in Germany's version of BO1 Zombies, which in my opinion totally changes the gameplay. But that was the only way Activision could get it published. Either that, or they just don't release it in that market at all. And so that's one reason you could see why the Zombies Chronicles version of these maps were censored, because of the German market. Perhaps they just didn't want to make a specific version for them and just changed it for everyone. But those laws changed in Germany a year later, in 2018, and since then, Nazi symbols in video games are totally fine now. However, we have had Vanguard Zombies, and apparently now in Black Ops 7 Zombies, with this map set in New York, where still we are seeing censorship of realistic imagery from that time. And the question is, why? Is it just the world that we live in now, where this is just seen as sensitive imagery, and it's easier for developers to not include it to make sure that nobody is upset? I suppose you could also ask yourself, is it even a big deal? On one hand, no, it doesn't change the gameplay, but it does change the aesthetics of the map. And when I go back to play the original 2010 version of Kino der Toten and I play the Zombies Chronicles version in 2018 or 17, the Black Ops 1 version of Kino does a way better job of making you feel like you were there. It makes the map feel exactly like it should. More so, I think the point I'm trying to make is, why is this still going on? I do feel like in recent history this is a phase that the whole world, or the West especially, went through, where anything that resembles the bad part of history from that time should be censored. I thought, or I would have liked to have thought, over the past couple of years we've kind of got past that and, just come back to the time of, who gives a shit? Just put it in the game, this is history. But it seems like with Call of Duty at least, I can't say the same for other games, but COD has become so, not woke, but soft. It doesn't do anything to offend. We don't have, hardcore campaigns like we used to have in World at War. A proper, emotional, solid campaign in my opinion. There is nothing offensive about Call of Duty anymore. I think we can all agree that it's changed its direction to appeal more to kids, which is weird because it's an 18 game, but if you're having operators such as, kids cartoon characters, then that would say otherwise. I mean, we all started playing Call of Duty at 12, 13 years old. That doesn't matter, but that doesn't mean that we want maps, campaign missions, modes to appeal to, that age of audience as well. The reason why we all started playing COD at 12 years old was because it was insane and epic and cool. It's not that anymore. I'm not saying this type of imagery is cool, but at the same time, just put it in the game. And getting back to Black Ops 7 then, if it does end up being the case with this DLC 1 map, that Treyarch did just get scared of doing the whole Nazi stuff, then grow up. So yeah, there we go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, hopefully you've enjoyed the video today. If you have, drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest content on the channel. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Until then, goodbye.